Man City news today. Why Manchester City star wants to leave this summer. Next up, Thomas Tuchel has reportedly given Elliot Anderson permission to complete a medical with Man City as negotiations over a £100 million deal continue, and a Man City player has suffered an injury setback in the lead-up to the World Cup. But first, citizens, make sure to like the video and check your subscription, so you don't miss any updates about the Man City. Just when Manchester City thought the biggest challenge of the summer was replacing Pep Guardiola, another major question may be emerging. And this one concerns a player many supporters expected to be part of the club's future for the next decade, Josko Gvardiol. According to reports from Croatia, the defender is considering his future following Guardiola's departure, with the legendary manager reportedly being one of the main reasons he chose Manchester City in the first place. If true, it's easy to understand why this story is generating attention. For elite footballers, projects matter, coaches matter, vision matters. When Gvardiol arrived from RB Leipzig, he wasn't joining just any club. He was joining Guardiola's Manchester City, arguably the most sophisticated football environment in Europe. Under Pep, he developed into far more than a traditional center-back. He became a defender capable of progressing the ball, stepping into midfield, and dominating possession-based football. That's why losing Guardiola could naturally create uncertainty. From the Man City's perspective, however, losing Gvardiol would be unthinkable. This is a player entering his prime years. At 24, he combines athleticism, technical quality, versatility, and leadership potential. Defenders with that profile are almost impossible to replace. Tactically, his importance goes beyond defending. Modern Man City football relies heavily on defenders who can initiate attacks and break opposition pressure. Gvardiol excels in exactly those areas. The encouraging sign for supporters is that Man City reportedly have no intention of backing down. Hugo Viana and the club hierarchy are said to be preparing improved contract terms, while any interested club would likely face an enormous asking price. Ultimately, this situation may become one of Enzo Maresca's first major tests. Because replacing Guardiola is one challenge, convincing the players Guardiola helped attract to stay for the next chapter might be an even bigger one. And for Manchester City fans, keeping Gvardiol could be every bit as important as any new signing this summer. My friend Man City fan, do you believe Gvardiol will stay at Manchester City long-term? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Manchester City's summer transfer plans may have just received an unexpected boost, and it's coming from England manager Thomas Tuchel. At first glance, Tuchel's latest comments don't seem directly related to Man City at all. But when you look closer, they could have a major impact on one of the club's biggest transfer priorities, Elliot Anderson. The Nottingham Forest midfielder has emerged as a key target as Man City prepare for a new era under Enzo Maresca, with Bernardo Silva leaving and midfield entering a period of transition. The club is searching for players who can combine technical quality, energy, and long-term potential. Anderson fits that profile perfectly. The complication, of course, is timing. The World Cup is now underway, and major tournaments often freeze transfer negotiations. Players are focused on national team duties, clubs hesitate to interrupt preparations, and deals can drag on for weeks. But Tuchel has made it clear that England will not stand in the way if players need to complete transfer formalities during the tournament. That might sound like a small detail, but for the citizens, this could prove highly significant. If Hugo Viana chooses to step up efforts to sign the English midfielder, being able to carry out medical checks and finalize important parts of the transfer while the World Cup is underway would remove a significant hurdle. It allows negotiations to continue progressing smoothly instead of delaying everything until after the tournament has concluded. The bigger story here is Man City's urgency. Maresca is expected to arrive soon, and the club wants clarity on major transfer targets before pre-season begins. Building a new midfield structure cannot be left until late August. Anderson remains the preferred option, although Man City are also exploring alternatives such as Sandro Tonali. Forest's enormous valuation continues to be the biggest hurdle, but the player's reported preference for the Etihad keeps the door open. In my opinion, Tuchel's comments are another reminder that this summer is about much more than replacing players. It's about shaping the first chapter of the post-Guardiola era, and every advantage in the transfer market could make a difference. So citizens, do you think Anderson is the right player to replace Bernardo Silva's influence? Share your opinion in the comments. For Manchester City fans, Matheus Nunez has become one of the more fascinating stories of the last season. Just 12 months ago, there were serious questions about where he fit in the squad. Now, heading into the World Cup, he's dealing with a setback at the worst possible moment. Reports from the Portugal camp have confirmed that Nunez is currently unavailable due to injury and will miss his country's first friendly match. While Portugal remain hopeful he can return for their next fixture, the timing is far from ideal for a player who looked set to compete for a starting role on football's biggest stage. What makes the situation particularly interesting is how dramatically Nunez transformed his Manchester City career. Signed as a midfielder, he initially struggled to establish himself in Pep Gvardiola's system, but necessity often creates opportunity. Gvardiola's decision to deploy him at right back completely changed the trajectory of his season. By the end of the campaign, Nunez wasn't just filling a gap, he had become Man City's first-choice option in the position. His athleticism, ball-carrying ability, and willingness to attack space gave Man City a different dynamic compared to a more traditional fullback. Now, however, his place faces an immediate challenge. Portugal possess significant competition in the position, with experienced options also pushing for minutes. Missing preparation time could make it difficult for Nunez to build momentum before the tournament begins. This is a story worth monitoring closely. With Enzo Maresca preparing for his first season in charge and uncertainty surrounding the Citizens' right-back recruitment plans, Nunez has an opportunity to return from the World Cup with even greater status. The concern is obvious: injuries are never welcome. But if the last year has taught Man City supporters anything, it's that Matheus Nunez has a habit of turning difficult situations into career-defining opportunities. My friend Man City fan, after transforming his Manchester City career and becoming a key player last season, do you think Matheus Nunez should remain the club's first-choice right-back? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Just a year ago, Manchester City fought hard to keep Savinho. Today, they appear to be negotiating the terms of his departure. According to the latest reports, Tottenham are pushing aggressively to sign the Brazilian winger, and the feeling around the deal is that it could accelerate quickly if the two clubs find common ground on the transfer fee. What's fascinating about this story is how dramatically the situation has changed. When Spurs first tried to sign Savinho, Man City viewed him as a major part of their future. Pep Gvardiol reportedly blocked the move, convinced the young winger possessed the kind of directness and unpredictability that modern elite teams desperately need. Fast forward 12 months, and the landscape looks very different. Savinho struggled to establish himself as a regular starter last season. Despite flashes of brilliance, opportunities were limited, confidence appeared inconsistent, and he never truly secured a permanent role in Pep's rotation. Now, with Enzo Maresca preparing to begin a new era at the Etihad, Man City seem willing to listen. From the Tottenham's perspective, the attraction is obvious. Roberto De Zerbi's system thrives on aggressive 1-versus-1 wingers who can stretch defenses. Those are arguably Savinho's greatest strengths. This is a player who loves receiving the ball wide and immediately driving at defenders. Analyze. This deal raises an important question. Are Man City selling a player who failed to develop, or because he whose breakthrough simply arrived at the wrong club and time? That's the dilemma. The talent has never been in doubt. Gvardiol himself praised his fearless attacking mentality and ability to eliminate defenders with his dribbling. Those qualities don't disappear overnight. If Tottenham complete this move for around £60 million, Man City will make a healthy profit and create room for further reinforcements, but there will always be a lingering sense of curiosity. Because if Savinho finally explodes under De Zerbi in North London, many Man City fans may find themselves wondering what might have happened had he been given just a little more time. So citizens, is selling Savinho the right decision for Manchester City? Share your opinion in the comments. This is the Citizens News Fan channel, and I'll stop here. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. A big hug and see you in the next video.